think people find the first date hard enough, but actually what is the trickiest part to navigate is really like month 1 to 3. When you've dated each other, you start to get to know each other well. And this is really when honesty and respect actually shows up. Of you start to make an assessment, right? Or you start to fall for that person, and you have to express what you want, or you think like, what direction is this headed in? In other words, how do you recommend guys navigate the "what are we" conversation?
Okay, so I love these conversations because communication is what you need, right? You're never gonna, when we don't have the communication, this is what happens with my couples. They think one thinks they're monogamous, the other thinks they're still dating other people, and then they start a relationship and they realize later, wait a minute, you did what? So when you're feeling that you want to take it from that dating phase to the monogamy phase, I wouldn't start it with, what are we, right? Take control of the situation, right? This is a very vulnerable conversation where you're taking both people's feelings where they can get really hurt. So one person can take control of that situation and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about the relationship. Is now a good time, right? Because one person may not be in that same headspace. So I would say kind of, if it's a big conversation, kind of try to plan the right time and ask your partner when that is. And go vulnerable first. I really like you. I want to take this to a place where we're no longer seeing anybody else. How do you feel? You take the vulnerability first. If you're bringing it up, show them that you are putting your guards down and putting your heart out there, and hopefully they will do the same, and it will be a very honest conversation.
It's without these conversations that the situationship has emerged, and it seems like maybe there's just a new term to describe it, and therefore it's easier to identify, but it does seem like in dating culture today, the situationship has become a lot more common than it was in previous generations. Do you find that?
The situationship is still around, but we're finding in Miami that people are saying we're done with these situationships. They're messy, they're emotional, they're dramatic. There's a lot of heartbreak. So here we are finding that people are saying no more. I'm not going to enter into that relationship. I'm going to be single or committed. And I think that was because of having that real conversation about, are we monogamous, are we not, was not being had. So things just got really messy and people got tired of that.
I know people have to operate on their own timelines and relationships move at different speeds. But when do you feel like, if that kind of conversation, that honesty hasn't come up yet, at what point should people start to like take responsibility for initiating that kind of clarity? I mean, because like second date is way too soon, It's like there's a middle ground somewhere.
There is and there isn't, because I have some clients who will tell me, I'm not having that conversation until a couple months in, right? I'm not going to give up the other people that I'm dating because we're still dating. Okay. If that's when you want to, if that's how you feel, I would be open. I would recommend being open with that person and say, I'm still dating other people. Like, don't keep them in the dark or lead them on. But I absolutely have people on the other end who will say, this is our second date. I need to know what you're feeling. Are you still dating other people? And this is where, as a sexologist, it's not necessarily my job to tell them when these, I know we all want guidelines, but everybody is very different in that. So it really is, when is it important to you? Is it important for you to have that conversation before you have sex? Then you should have it before you have sex, even if that is the second date. It's important to you before they meet your family. So where are the important things that maybe you don't want to do with them until having these conversations and having all that information?
I think it's also different culturally. In Europe, people almost assume that like dating is done one by one. You don't date multiple people. I think in the US, that's very, very normal. And it's, I've even had dating coaches on this podcast, like advise it. Like, you don't want to just throw your eggs in one basket. You need to date other people at the same time. sometimes it also happens where you might not date other people, but that's not necessarily because you don't want to. You just so happen to only be interested in this person at one time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then it's like, are you dating other people? Well, no, but I could be.
It's very like geographically different for us, because I have noticed in the Midwest culture, because I do have clients all over the United States, but in the Midwest, it is very much that they will couple sooner, meaning that by the second or third date, they are having these conversations because they're not dating multiple people. Miami, you're going to find that these conversations are later, and you're going to find that people are dating multiple people at the same time. I do think that is because of the dating apps. It was so easy for us to have so many conversations going on at the same time, and so many different people like right at our fingertips. I remember when I was dating, I went on a date with someone from a dating app, and he was like, yeah, well, I have 400 matches, that like I talked to him like 400. What? But to him, that was super normal. So maybe to him and his guy group, like that was a thing. So I do think there was a dating app influence, but yeah, geographically, you're going to have these, what are we conversations at different times.
Yeah.
But we should, because if it's important to you, bring it up sooner than later.
So you have a lot of like very honest conversations with men about how they're feeling about who they're dating, where that relationship is headed. A hypothesis that I have is that ultimately people always do what they want to do. And if a man truly wants to be with a woman, it doesn't matter if it's not the right time, or he's busy, or he has a lot going on with work or family, he'll make that work, right? Do you find that to be true from your own experience? Do you find that a lot of these reasons that you might give somebody for not wanting to move forward with the relationship are more to soften the blow a little bit rather than the actual truth of the matter?
Sure, absolutely. But that's with like anything we do, right? Like if we actually want to make it to the gym, we'll go to the gym. If we don't really want to go to the gym, we'll find 100 excuses. And again, with somebody who is really busy, let's say with work or with family, they'll find little ways to still get in touch with that person, such as a text here or there, right? So you're absolutely right. If it's something that we want, we will just unconsciously find ways to get it done. If it's something that we don't want, we will make excuses or find ways to avoid that.
Yeah, and I think it does soften the blow, but also for the person on the other end, we always know the truth of the matter. Like, oh, sorry, I forgot to text you back. Like, after the date was already meant to happen. It's like, well, we all know everybody's on their phone all the time. I also think that's an interesting like cat and mouse game when it comes to texting and phone calls. Back when people had a landline phone, or they had to go to a phone box to call somebody, not hearing them from them for a few days was like fair enough. Maybe it might seem a bit keen to run over to the phone the moment you get home. But now everybody is on their phone all the time. To not reply does seem almost like a bit of a game. What do you think about that? Do you think that the etiquette around reply times and calling has changed?
Yeah, and the addictions to our phone, I think that's what makes ghosting hurt even more. When somebody ghosts you, you know that they saw the message, right? Like, you know that they probably saw the missed call. So that's what hurts even worse. And I have a lot of these conversations where ghosting actually is more traumatic to somebody than not, because it's a huge rejection. It
can be, and it's a rejection without an explanation. I think that's what hurts so much.
Right? If you have someone who's going to break up with you and say something nice and break up with you to your face, there's some respect there. This is almost, I didn't give you the respect or the care to even give you the time.
And what I always say to somebody, and by no means a dating coach, but I always say either to myself or to a friend that this has happened to, you have avoided being in a relationship with somebody that cannot communicate. You've won.
Yeah.
If they ghosted you.
That's That's really good, like soothing advice, right? You got off. You didn't have to go down this road of even more heartbreak.
Yeah, exactly. Mindy, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I think this has been a really, really interesting conversation.
I had fun.
Yeah, likewise. Where can people go to find out a bit more about you, or maybe even if they want to work with you, where can they learn more about that?
Yes, just go to my Instagram at Dr. Mindy DeSeta, and from there you can learn all about me and get sex tips on how to live your best sex life.
If you're enjoying this podcast, you will love the Gentleman's Digest. This is our weekly newsletter sent straight to your inbox, packed with insights and recommendations. You'll find the link to become a reader in the description.